Live. Everybody make it on. I'm just looking at the chat over here. So we have a new tradition we're trying out here at the Do Nothing Project, which is to start a little chat thread right before so that people can say hello to each other in a little extended way than what happens here. And there's a little more space to tag people in that and respond to individual comments. So you have to let me know how that's going. It's good to see everyone over there. So I've got it. I'm looking at it over there. That's awesome. And then here, so welcome to the Do Nothing Project. I'm your host, Jeff Warren, and this is the community. We've been doing this for many years now. Um, People from all around the world connecting at this particular time in their time zone, but in this moment or afterwards. And we meditate together, and sometimes there's a theme of some kind. Often not. I'd like to say keep the bar pretty low in terms of entry to meditation, make it accessible. Um, I am a little sick this weekend. My son, both my son and I had got really sick. Had a fever last night, and my son was like burning up in the middle of the night. It was I went over. He could like fry an egg on his head and just pouring sweat. But he's way better today, as am I. So I will mute myself if I have the occasional sniffle or hack. But um, so let's see. I guess there kind of is a flow to this, like to the practice too. Um, I mean, there's this little chit chat at the beginning, but the practice itself is 25 minutes, and I usually think of it as I do think of it in my mind as kind of having a particular sequence, although it can go any way, and the whole point is to make it adaptable for you. But in general, it's sort of like, oh yeah, shit, I'm doing this. It's like, that's the beginning stage, and then like, okay, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this, and it's like, but that take a while. I'm gonna do this, and then you forget. No, I'm really gonna do it, and you forget. And you're like, am I doing this? I don't know if I'm doing this, but you eventually there's a stage of kind of like settling and accepting and relaxing, to a degree. And that creates it kind of prepares the ground for more deeper settling, and the settling is important. It's another way to say it is like a stabilizing, more stability. That's kind of where you begin to get the insight of like fewer thoughts, fewer problems. Like you thought, I mean, there are lots of problems in life, in the world, with ourselves, like lots of challenges and things to be working on, but they don't have to all be front and center in the middle of your life in your thoughts right now, always, always, always. And what you learn from meditation is as some of that starts to cool out, then they're less immediate and pressing often than you realize that there's a little more space um and oh my God, is that ever valuable? Because then it's like there's more after that, then you can kind of get clear about what your actual priorities are in terms of what you can do. And so there's this kind of settling stage, and that stage that's kind of most of it. Sometimes there's no settling. Sometimes it's just that kind of a meditation. In this case, it's okay, you just accept how things are, and just the act of accepting itself is already kind of filtering in there and supporting and clearing and emptying. I mean, it's amazing. um uh and sometimes when there can be a lot of settling, and then from that more settled space, like I said, that's where insights happen. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's where you can kind of see where something you've been carrying, maybe even without looking for it. Or you kind of suddenly, yeah, notice how things are, or a creative idea, or some connection. You're kind of like making space for life to catch up with you. Um, and then we usually finish on with some sort of loving kindness, gratitude, compassion practice, which is just a very good training. It's good to kind of cultivate that as a sort of increasingly as a default in these times, as much as at any time, um, as a default towards ourselves, people around us, but it's not a monolithic thing, because when we cultivate compassion or gratitude or appreciation, all our human things come up. Like, well, I don't want to be compassionate to that guy. That doesn't make any sense. Not them. So we learn what our boundaries are, what our internal rules of operation. Like, so all of it ends up being a very I find it just all of it is very helpful for understanding what this whole human situation is, and that's kind of the point of this. So that's my blab. Welcome everybody. It's good to have you here. Um, yeah, if you're new to the community, say hello. You say where you're from. We do. I'm trying to like Joe and Milan, my team. We've really been thinking a lot about how to continue to um, deepen this experience of community and the offerings through the Substack. So we're constantly kind of learning and trying new things. So if you ever have any suggestions, you can always email me or post it here or send a DM and in Substack. But right now we have our monthly home base hangout that we're increasingly going to start recording and offering it to folks. So that's like a place to get more feedback on your practice. We have this every week. We have specific customized practices. If you have a challenge, you want me to try to figure something out for you, um, or not just a challenge, an opportunity, an interest. I love that too. Sometimes, you get into the thing where you're always talking about the hard things because so many people come to meditation to address the hard things. But the flip side is all the good things. Meditation creates so many opportunities and openings and interesting things that you can in fact, that's even kind of like a progression in meditation. You start out, you're like, oh, you're noticing the hard things and you're just trying to get yourself sorted. And then there can be this shift, and I'll maybe offer a prompt around that where you're going to get curious about something that's actually enjoyable in your experience or resourcing or soothing in some way, or quiet or silence or stillness. And it just opens and opens and opens and opens. And it's like, oh my gosh. Um, anyway, so we have that. And then, of course, there's the weekly posts that come out with talking about different stuff and blah, blah, blah. So let's meditate. Good to see everyone. The comments go by quick, so I don't have a chance to say everyone's names, but I see Chris here and Therese and Mike and Andrew. Good to see you, Andrew. Andrew, I got to talk to you about guest hosting this baby on Substack because uh, that would be good. Okay, so I'm going to do 25 minutes. I'll ring this bell. Uh, thanks for your practice, friends. Hello, Mountain Water Moon from Colorado and Queen from DC and Annie Peck. How about 3 bells to start? I actually don't know if these bells work. I think they get filtered out. Hey, Rhiannon. That does work. Hey, Martha, how are you? Trisha. Tisha, okay. All right. So, um, as always, with any do nothing meditation, you can make this your own. So, if you want to tune me out entirely, that's great. If you want to just let the instructions filter in and see what happens, that's fine too. Maybe you want to be lying down, or maybe you want to be sitting in a formal meditation posture, or just relaxing in your easy boy recliner while watching the TV. Don't do that. But you can if you want. Always interesting to ask at the beginning, what do I actually need right now? Maybe I need to be stretching a little bit before I start, or slowly making my way into it. Or if you're really agitated, maybe you need to make it a really slow walking meditation or stretching. I like starting with a few slow, more deliberate breaths. Kind of notice how that is for me. Actually, because I'm sick, I can feel it's like much, like kind of harder to breathe into the chest. So you may have your own version of that. Maybe you've been breathing high in the chest and kind of faster. Can you kind of redirect to the belly, slowing things down? Do a little check in. Where am I right now? Maybe there's, oh, you hadn't noticed that you're actually pretty tired or you're feeling a particular way, a particular emotion or mood. So we just notice and accept what's here right from the beginning. That's, that's the biggest part of medicine, honestly. I spent my whole life doing that. Just being a body, life of the body. The out breath can help with the settling, lengthening the out breath a bit. I find another thing that helps is noticing contact with the ground, but not some metaphor, literal contact with the literal ground under you, wherever you're sitting or standing or laying on. That's a kind of like base. And you can kind of be that base, like you're like a statue. Thunk. So we meditate, we sort of slow down our body clock. We're patient, patient, patient's the name of the game. So in particular, if there's lots of busyness, your mind's still going because there's momentum from the day. The kind of tried and true trick of meditation is that of the profusion of things happening, just choose one simple thing in the present to kind of prioritize. Other stuff will still be there. You'll still notice other things, including your own thinking, but you get interested in what's going to be kind of soothing to pay attention to, or what can you be a little bit curious about? Uh, Maybe the sensation of the breath, like uh, the feeling at the belly or the little gap, the end of the out breath, this kind of pause that you float in. Or maybe what does it feel like just to notice the whole sense of the broad posture sitting that might have a kind of particularly stable flavor or sound you want to get curious about, even an internal sound can be very regulating, just repeating, something, Scooby Doo, Scooby Doo. And that's all part of just getting a little more stable, settled. Mind wanders, you come back.
Good. So maybe the main measure of a success in meditation is how accepting and easygoing can you be with whatever imperfection is presenting. It's never perfect. So there may still be stuff you're worried about and thinking about, or like, am I even meditating? It's like, okay, that's where I am. It's coming back to the present, noticing your home base, accepting this is what's going on, even beginning to appreciate some aspect of the experience, cultivating this sense of finding satisfaction even when not much is happening. So, what can you find a little bit satisfying in your experience, even if you have to fake it a bit? Maybe the softest part of a sensation or quietest part of a sound, maybe silence, maybe stillness. Something interesting can happen too, and you get really present, really kind of delicate with your attention. And you got kind of got this like, what is that? Maybe that's towards silence or toward the softest part of a sensation. Like this kind of mystery quality, like you don't know what it is. Can you be kind of humble in your experience? Humble towards it, I mean. You know, how about the letting go towards the end? Sometimes I like to just imagine it's like I've always been here. I'm like 2,500-year-old statue in the jungle somewhere in the forest. A slow, steady presence. Something about that image can make things even more grounded and kind of sacred too. Timeless. And maybe cultivate a little gratitude here at the end, whatever flavor you want to go out on. Like, thank you. Thank you. Whenever you feel like thanking whoever. Appreciating the opportunity to take a break, appreciate the community, appreciate someone in your life. Sometimes it just kind of comes spontaneously when you get quiet. That's what comes up anyway. Thanks, friends. Thanks for your practice. Good to sit with you. Glad that helped a bit, Rhiannon. Sorry, even going through the health stuff. Hey, Tamar, I sent a response to your note, actually. I really liked what you were saying. Hey, Holly. Hey, Maddie's Bow, Andrew. Hey, Olivia. Sheila. Pass the pizza. Thanks, Malaya. Hey, Elaine, Gabrielle, Sandra. No, nice to meet you here, Cindy. I feel pretty good. Thank you, Kathleen. Hey, Bertha. Beth. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Joe. Everyone can thank Joe. Joe helps make the Substack happen. Joe Mazza right there. He's my guy. Bob. Susie. Anyone else kind of get into that whole thing. You know what I mean? When I was saying about being like a statue, kind of like just the slow, steady, like this feeling of timelessness, like always having been there, kind of puts for me. It just kind of I just end up in that place through practice. Sometimes deliberately, sometimes it just happens, and it's like this time out of time quality that's very feels very healing, and kind of like you're getting under everything. Nice, Liza, the dog. Laura loves doing the statue. Love doing the statue. Oh, good, Andrew. I'm glad. All right, friends. So, see you next week. What's coming up? Can't recall. Uh, but I'll see you next Sunday, and there'll be another thing out on Friday. I think. I'm not sure what's going to be on Friday. I want to write something about we're about to finally release the registration page for the retreat on neurodiversity, which is probably going to fill up super fast. So I'll have to do another one, but so it might be something on that, or it might be the week after. But I'm not sure. Anyway, everyone, enjoy your week, and if you're catching this in another time zone or you're already in the week, hope it's going well, and we'll see you guys on the next one.